So I'm at a quick pit stop at a road cut today. This spot was found by a friend of mine. It has some interesting calcites. They're partially etched, but they're still interesting. There's some decent sized ones. And actually, I just reached into here. And I already pulled out some calcite. You can roughly see the shape of the crystals, but they've been etched a lot. You can see the etching on this one actually. But I'm gonna poke around here for a couple hours and then move on to the next spot. If I find any super spectacular calcites, I'll definitely show you. Here's the view of what it looks like on the inside. You can kind of see the calcite on the edges, the rough crystal shapes. And this is what it looks like on the outside. I think I did pretty good. Pretty happy with this one piece. I just wanted at least one decent sized calcite, and you can see I've got a pile of calcites here. Here's some big partials in the back that were just sitting around, but they're missing their tips, which is a shame. Another big partial. You can see that etching. But yeah, this was a fun little stop. I'll get these cleaned up and I'll show you what they look like after they're cleaned, because these calcites are pretty etched. So they're gonna have an interesting look once they're cleaned. So that's the spot with the calcite. And I just decided to take a peek around here, and I looked at in here in some of the rockfall. I found this really interesting black mineral. First I found the cap, and then I found the bottom part to the crystal. There's a little bit missing. I extracted this bottom piece came out of a larger rock, and the bottom part of the crystal, the bottom termination, was really weak and fragile already, so it just kind of crumbled. But I've got the top termination plus this middle part, and you can see it's super lustrous. It's a three-sided, looks like a three-sided mineral, and it's highly lustrous. Curious to what this might be, so I might take the shattered bottom part and try and figure out if I can get this to somebody to analyze it. This is a pretty little fun feature. I don't know exactly what it is. I'll have to look it up, but it's pretty interesting. So before we get to some of the cleaned up specimens, let's actually talk about what I mean by when I say the calcite has been etched. For those who don't know, when it comes to the word etching, etching is generally used when it comes to minerals as a term to describe the partial or total dissolution of a certain mineral. Usually it's used in the context of prepping or cleaning minerals. For example, etching calcite, a way to more easily expose the silver and the sapphirite in this mineral specimen. I have also heard the term be used in a more natural context, and I have personally used it myself as well. For example, in this video when I was describing the calcite I was pulling out. And with these calcites in particular, I believe what happened is the groundwater percolated, or the rainwater percolated into the calcite vein from above, and slowly over many years has started to etch away and eat away at the calcite. I have another great example of minerals etched in nature. This one being a gypsum specimen that came from the Montrose dump. It sat there for many years exposed to the elements, and gypsum is known to dissolve away pretty easily in water. And this one dissolved away in a very interesting way and made it look very funky. So the rainwater, the natural rainwater, just over the years etched away at this gypsum specimen. In general, these calcites are not the prettiest. They all have signs of etching and look quite gnarly, and many of them have old cleavage damage that has been further etched away. This was the largest point I pulled out of the dogtooth calcite. Even though they look quite gnarly, I'm still quite happy with my finds, even though they've been heavily etched and the surfaces look real funky. I'm pretty happy with this point, especially. This was the largest dogtooth point I pulled out of that pocket. I'm sure there's more in there. My friend who found the pocket originally and shared the location with me, he found some big ones there and too. So I'm sure if somebody else discovered that pocket and kept going, they'd find more. Or maybe my friend goes back there and finds more, or he lets other friends know about this location. But a very interesting find nonetheless. This, I believe, is one of the only double terminated examples I managed to find. You can see it's on matrix. It's kind of this green reddish matrix. Don't know exactly what the material is. I assume the green might be some sort of pyroxene base mineral, but this is the one double terminated specimen I did find. It looks actually like it's two crystals, one starting here and then one merging into here. You can kind of see it here along there. So that might just be an old natural break that has been etched over. But a cool little double terminated specimen. I can't complain. This one seems to be multiple trying to stack up on each other, but it's just way too gnarly and it's got way too much damage to fully understand what it is. But it looks like it was multiple kind of flattened dogtooth calcite crystals stacked up on each other. At the end of the video, I found this specimen. The bottom bit was pretty damaged, but this top, I still have to glue it to repair it. But this top, there's enough of it there that I'm gonna repair the specimen. Have it like this. I took the last fragment of the bottom, the surviving bottom, and I actually ran a quick Mohs hardness test on it, and it seems to fall within the range of Tourmaline. And I already had my suspicions, especially looking at this cross section of the crystal and just the general luster in the area this came from. Tourmaline seemed like a good suspect. Now with the fragment that I tested, I could hold it up to the light and I could see just on the edges a dark coffee brown color showing through, which tends to indicate to me that if this was tourmaline, it would be considered dravite, which is a dark coffee brown colored tourmaline, which makes a lot of sense because this location, I mean, it's not close to, but it's not super far away from other location where I've collected some dravites at before. But it is definitely an interesting find, and I'd actually go back to this road cut just to look around for more of these and see if there are more intact whole ones that I could maybe collect at that road cut. It seemed like the material had sloughed off from the top of the road cut, so I'm wondering if the layer that contains these suspected dravites is on top of the road cut more, and that might just be a thing we have to revisit when we go there again. But very cool. This is, along with that big calcite I showed you, this is probably my favorite find from that location. This brings us to the end of the video. If you haven't already and you're new to the channel, please do like and subscribe. The buttons are just below. All it takes is 2 easy clicks. I'd really appreciate if you did that. It helps out the channel a lot. And please also below in the comment section, let me know what you found the most interesting in this video, whether it be the calcites, this tourmaline specimen, or those folds that I showed you in the actual occurrence. I always like to see what people find interesting in my videos. And please, folks, just have a wonderful day, and I will see you guys in the next video.